Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. So today we're gonna do kind of a throwback to when I first started BookTube. And I know you're thinking, you've only been on BookTube like 6 months, but in the past 6 months I feel like my channel's changed quite a bit and that I've gotten quite a bit better at talking to the camera and just at this general BookTube thing. Leave in the comments below what you think. Leave down in the comments one thing that I could work on and one thing that you think I do really well. Anyways, at the beginning of my BookTube career, I was reviewing every single book that I was reading. I kind of wish that I would have kept up doing that, but unfortunately I didn't. And now I've been reading the same type of book, 4 of them to be exact. They do have some differences and some of them are similar. I was gonna do a different video for each review, but then I was thinking about it and I thought I could pit two books against each other and we could rate them and I will talk to you about them. The first section will be non-spoilers and there might be a spoiler part at the end. We will see. I don't know yet. I haven't really planned it out yet. But I have these 2 pitted against each other and these 2 pitted against each other. These 2 because they're YA thrillers and these 2 because they're adult thrillers. So, before I start, I just want to say the disclaimer that if I didn't like one of your favorite books, I'm sorry. Or if you disagree with my opinion on one of these books or more than one of these books, that's completely fine. That's actually great, you know? We can still be friends and no hard feelings either way, right? Alright, with that disclaimer being said, let's get into this. So, I actually liked this pile more. This is the adult thrillers. So I'm going to end on a great note with those books. So let's start with the YA thrillers. And just before we start, I have to say that I'm actually not loving YA books as much anymore. So I might be going through all my books and getting rid of most of the YA books, just because there are some YA books that are really good and hold up, but in general, I've been more entertained with the adult books that I've been reading. Oh man, does that mean I'm growing up? Sad face. Cry moment. So yeah, I don't know. I don't really like the YA ones as much. But let's get into these 2 YA thrillers that I'm going to review and pit against each other. Because why not? The first one is And Then There Were 4 by Nancy Werlin. And I was really excited for this. I thought that it would be like a Final Destination type horror book. And when I dove into it, I found that it was not like that at all. It was about this group of teenagers who meet for a leadership meeting that no one knows how they got the notes to all go to the same building, and when they get to the building, it collapses onto them, almost killing 2 of them. But they escape with their lives, and then they start talking about how crazy it is that happened. What does that mean? And somehow one of the characters just knows that his mom has something to do with it. You don't get a reason. He just knows. And when he confronts her about it, she doesn't answer the door. But then he goes in his car, his brakes don't work, and he dies. And then it was a lot of dialogue from characters that I did not connect with, that I didn't really care about. And it was just very... It had potential, okay? The premise sounded amazing, but the execution was not good. And I gave this book a 2 out of 5 stars on Goodreads, and that was being generous. I do not recommend this book. And then the other YA thriller that I hated as much, or almost as much as, and then there were 4, was There's Someone Inside Your House by Stephanie Perkins. So, before I review this one, I should tell you that I don't like contemporary, I don't like romance, and it's just not my jam. It's not the first thing that I would pick up. Unless I was doing some kind of challenge video where I was reading outside my comfort zone, or I landed on a Bookopoly space that was read outside your comfort zone, I would not pick up a romance. So, I picked up There's Someone Inside Your House, thinking, first off, spooky cover, right? Spooky but pink. Pink is my favorite color, but spooky. So I thought, yes. From the premise, I thought it would be a slasher, I Know What You Did Last Summer type of book. And I was so ecstatic. I wanted to love this book. And then I read it. And it was not horror at all. It did not scare me. There were deaths and a murder on the loose. So I get the scary aspect, but it didn't work for me. More or less, it was a romance between 2 teenagers and a ton of makeout sessions. And I was bored. I was bored waiting for this slasher book. And it just did nothing for me. I think I ended up giving it 1 star, but let me double check. Yeah, so I gave it 1 star. I honestly don't see it as a horror book. I see it as a romance with mystery and scary elements every 50 pages, maybe. It just didn't work for me. And by default, I have to say that neither of these worked for me. I really did not like either of them, and I would not recommend either of them to you. But for the sake of this video, I am going to say that And Then There Were 4 by Nancy Borland won, because this was a 1-star book, this was a 2-star book. I just did not like them, and honestly, I was on such a thriller kick when I was reading these that the previous 2 books were so good, but they were adult novels, which we have a pit up against each other. But I just did not like these at all, and now I'm like not reading because I'm scared I'm not gonna like my next choice of book too. And I know that's a silly reason not to pick up another book, but I'm kind of getting like slumpiness from reading both of these, and I honestly just don't get either of them. This was a romance. It's not scary. Don't fall into it like I did. This is nothing like Final Destination. It's just a bunch of teenagers walking around saying, oh, well, I know that my parents involved in trying to kill us and then killing this one kid, and I just know that my parents are involved. Like, how do you know? Show me. There are a couple of things that they show you so you get to understand how they know, but in general, you just have to take the word of some teenager that, honestly, I didn't care if they lived or died, which sucks when you're reading about a character and you're like, I don't care. I can't connect with them. I don't like them. They're just whiny little babies. Yep. And then this one, I don't feel like I got to know the characters. I just feel like it was a romance novel, and you're reading about them making out for 60% of the book, or at least it seems like that. And it was so disappointing. So overall, they were both very disappointing. I don't even remember the end of this one. I read it, but I don't remember the big reveal, so it probably wasn't that surprising. And then there were 4, and the book just didn't make sense. The book just didn't make any sense. It was just, ow. It was just a bunch of teenagers saying that they know their parents are trying to kill them. It was very boring, and I don't think that thrillers should be boring. So, both of these books have made me start to rethink YA books in general. YA thrillers, I can't name a single YA thriller that I like, but adult thrillers, oh my gosh, I absolutely love. Well, I've been on a thriller kick, and I know there's only 2 thrillers that I'm pitting against each other, but the one even before these 2 was an audiobook, and it was an adult thriller, and it was so good. Such a page turner, or a audiobook turner, not really turner, but audiobook aholic. I don't know. I just did not want to put the audiobook down. And then the one before that was another audiobook that, oh my gosh, just blew my mind. Loved it. Audiobooks, adult thrillers are so working for me right now. So, let's move on to the next 2 that I have pitted against each other. These are adult thrillers, and they were both really, really good. So, the first one that I read was The Chalkman by C.J. Tudor. And essentially you're following these, okay, you have alternating chapters between 1986, I believe, I'm going to double check the exact year. Okay, so that's present day, but okay, 1986 and 2016. So, a few years apart, 30 years. But in 1986, you follow this boy, Eddie, who, him and his friends are your typical, kids. They go outside and play, they ride bikes, and they love hanging out. They love the long summer days. And in 1986, they find a body in the middle of the forest on one of their summer days. And this is the story of, so it goes from 1986 and to telling you about how they found the body, and then it goes to 2016 and shows you Eddie as an adult, and he says he doesn't consider himself an alcoholic, but he's an alcoholic. And he's kind of messed up in the head. And he kind of relays it back to 1986 when he found the body and how it changed his life and changed his life in the present, or in the 2016. And in 2016, he starts getting chalk messages, and from when he was a kid, him and his friends used to draw on each other's patio or their driveway little chalk figures, and each chalk figure meant something different. Like if two of them were on a swing, then they would meet up at the park, or different things like that. But see the little chalk figure? So in 2016, he starts receiving these chalk figures again, and all of his friends say that they don't know what he's talking about. They have nothing to do with it. They have their own lives going on, that they wouldn't play a practical joke like that. Not at their age. And then people start going missing, being murdered, being killed off, or going missing or something. And it was really intense. It was definitely a page turner. It made me have to stay up all night to read this book. And that's exactly what you want from a thriller, right? And the ending, I think... Okay, so the ending surprised the heck out of me. I'm not gonna lie. I'm actually not gonna leave spoilers in this video so that anyone can watch. But this was so addictive. I think I read it in one day, which doesn't happen to me a lot unless they're small books, but it's a pretty decent sized book. It's 400 pages, something like that. Oh, I'm just kidding. I'm such a liar. Okay, so it's 280 pages, so yeah, but it was really good. I rated it 4 out of 5 stars. And then I'm pitting this one against Final Girls by Riley Sager. So this kind of plays with the Final Girls trope of, in any horror movie ever, there's always that one survivor, that one girl that survives everything. And this kind of plays with it. There are 3 Final Girls from 3 different massacres, and you're following one of them. You're following Quincy. I forgot her name for a second. Not gonna lie to you. But you're following Quincy, and this is 10 years after the massacre. that she was the only one that survived. And the other two final girls from other massacres are they're all in contact with each other. Quincy did not want to meet Samantha to begin with. Yeah. And then she kind of just showed up at her door, and Quincy originally thought that was kind of weird, but she's like, okay, she just needs help, I've been there. Her massacre was more recent than mine. You know what? We're just going to help her. And then Quincy and Samantha end up being basically like roommates, because Samantha moves in with Quincy and her boyfriend Jeff. And Jeff doesn't trust Samantha. And then weird stuff starts happening. And Quincy is wondering, like, why this stuff is happening or what's going on. And it was just a very addictive read. The ending, like, made my jaw drop. It was so blatantly obvious that I just completely overlooked this particular person as a suspect, and I have to reread it eventually. I think I'm gonna let it simmer down in me a little bit and reread it soon. Maybe sometime this summer in July or August, TBR. We'll see. No promises. But I'm gonna try and reread it and make notes to see if I can guess the twist ending at the, but since I know the twist ending, I'll better know what to look for. But oh my gosh, the ending of this book just completely thrashed my heart. And I know it's an adult thriller. It's not supposed to be like heart thrashing, but the thing is that the relationship between Quincy and the guilty person that had built up was just such a cute relationship, and I just really loved it. And then to realize that this person was actually the one behind the massacre in the first place just blew my mind, thrashed my heart. But it was definitely a heart-pounding page-turner. I could not put this book down to save my life. I just ate it up, and it was just so good. The twist ending, that honestly, I feel like it should be pretty obvious if you are someone who can read into hints and take notes when you read. You might be able to get it. I'm going to try that in a little while when it's not so heavy on my heart. But I read this almost a week ago, and I'm still like boom, 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 boom about it. It was just, whew, it was a wild ride, and I absolutely loved it. Riley Sager is becoming one of my favorite authors. I still have 2 books to read by him, but I think I can do it. One is brand new, and I don't really buy brand new books. I usually wait a year. But I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that for this one. I might buy my first ever new book of the year for Riley Sager. But we'll see. I definitely want to get my hands on The Last Time I Lied, which is his second book. So it goes Final Girls, The Last Time I Lied, and then Lock Every Door. And I've read Lock Every Door on audio, but I would love to get a physical copy. And that, both of them are amazing thrillers. Riley Sager is just an amazing author. And then there's The Last Time I Lied, which is his second novel, which I haven't read yet, but I want to soon. And then Home Before Dark is coming out on the 15th, I believe, so 2 days. And I cannot wait to get my hands on that novel. But this Final Girls by Riley Sager is a 5-star read. And The Chalkman was really good, but it was only 4 stars. It was almost perfect. This one was beyond perfect, if that's possible. Every single detail of this book is just spot on. It is so amazing. So I'm going to keep both these on my shelf so that I can reread them in the future. But Final Girls takes the cake. And they are pitted against each other. But this one's on a whole nother level than The Chalkman. Although I did really enjoy them both. Just no one does it like Riley Sager, and I will rave about him forever if I could. So these two were definitely my favorite thrillers. They're both adult thrillers. So I have some homework for you guys. If you've stuck around this entire video and you're still here, please hit that thumbs up button. And leave in the comments below if you have any good adult thriller recommendations, because oh my gosh, my heart needs another adult thriller in my life. It's just, I can't even tell you, it's so amazing. On the other hand, before I let you go, I am going to be unhauling these soon. I did not like either of them. And I really had high hopes for both of them because Final Destination, I Know What You Did Last Summer, both super, super disappointing. I don't recommend them. I honestly don't recommend YA thrillers at all. But if you could change my mind about those, you can leave good YA thrillers down below. I am more looking for adult thrillers because, oh my gosh, they have my heart and soul right now. But either way, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys.